there, my name is Kelly Dale with Off the Beaded Path, and this is your Must Know Monday for Monday, August the 15th. Today, we're going to learn how to put the ends on our bead crochet and how to do the invisible end to make a bangle with our bead crochet. So before we get started, I want to give you a really quick update. A few months ago, I did a Must Know Monday on all the different kinds of bead boards, and Ree at the Bead Wrangler was super sweet and sent me one of her bead boards, and these boards are awesome, and she put your name on it. I love it. Thank you, Ree. But anyways, I posted this one on my Facebook page, telling her thank you, and got a lot of comments off of it. So again, I got this from Ree at the Bead Wrangler. But one of the bead boards that I showed in the video was one that I ordered off Etsy from a shop called M as in Mike, S as in Sam, W as in Walt, MSW shop. Okay, I really like the bead board. I'd ordered it from Etsy, from that shop, but I told him, I said, in the video, I said the one thing that I just really didn't like about the board was how the beads kind of got stuck around the edges. Well, yesterday in the mail, I got the greatest surprise. They shipped me a new board. Not only did they ship me a new board, but they listened to my comments and they fixed the boards now so that your beads don't get caught on the inside of it. And this board is awesome, guys. So thank you, MSW Shop on Etsy, ETSY.com. This board is awesome. Thank you for listening to me about what I said, because these boards are going to be really great. So if you're looking for a new board, check out MSW Shop on Etsy, or check out Ree at the Bead Wrangler, and both will give you an awesome board that I think you'll be really happy with. I'm starting to get lots of shapes and sizes of these, and I love them. They're so much fun. I never knew what I was missing all these years. But anyways, so now to bead crochet. We're back with that. I hope you got lots of practice. I know a lot of you posted some really cool pictures on my Facebook group, Off the Beaded Path, showing me what you guys have been up to this week, and you have been doing a fantastic job. So today, like I said, we're going to learn how to put the ends on. The first one I'm going to show you is actually the one that I tubed up last week. In the video, showed you, how we get this one started. So this one's the one I'm going to actually show you the invisible join to make the bangle style bracelet. I've also crocheted another one, finished it this week, and it is a black gray. I'm trying to think what I used on this one. I used black cloud, milky cloud, and I forget the other color that I used, but I have this one that I'm actually going to show you how to put the ends on, like using a bead cap and all that kind of stuff. So let me go ahead and get my section set up, and we'll get started. So here is my completed crochet tube from last week. And the first thing that I'm going to do is, you see I have my ending thread here, and then I have my beginning thread at the tail. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get rid of this short tail. So I'm going to use one of my tulip needles. Tulip has these needles called tapestry needles that have a wide head to them. You get an assortment of 3. You get 3 needles that will let you be able to do this a little bit easier. Or use a big eye needle. If you have a big eye needle, use it. Use whatever you've got. I just wanted to try these. So you've got your tube here, and this is my beginning end. And if you look at the beginning end here, you can see that pretty much all of my beads are laid down flat like they should be. If not, you can take your finger and you can push them down, and they should go back flat. Now we can't see the hollow part of the tube. You can barely see it there inside, because we have all our beads on the outside, thread on the inside, with a hollow tube in the very center. So we don't want to make any knots really, and we don't want to go through any of the actual beads. You want to take your needle and go through the center of the tube, and then come out, not of a bead, just out of the center of the tube. And don't pull it super tight because you want to keep the pattern here kind of nice and straight, so you don't want to pull it super tight. You just want to take and weave it through in and out of your tube. You're not going through any beads whatsoever. You're just weaving through the hollow inner part of the tube, going from side to side. And as you can see, you're not messing up any of the beads whatsoever. You're just catching threads in between your beads so that you can finish it off. And as you can see, I'm just going from side to side until I feel like I've got a good join or connection here and that my piece is not going to fall apart. Now be very careful like I just did there. There we go. Pull that and it'll pop right into place. And you're just going to keep doing this until you feel like it's secure. Once you feel like that this thread is secure, then you can take and trim it. And I'll show you how I do that. You want to take and you want to pull on it slightly with a little bit of pressure. Pull on it and trim. And then when you roll your tube a little bit, that little tail gets lost in there. And now you have your very beginning here with your 6 beads, and then you're ready for the other side. Now for this other side, what I'm going to do, the first thing is that I'm going to grab a hold of the tail and I'm going to pull it through. I'm going to pull that so it gives me just a little tiny spot here. And I'm going to take my needle, if I can find it. I'm going to take the needle, thread the needle onto this end. And the last bead, see if I can get that there. There we go. Might have to trim. Oh, nope, there we go. All right, you want to be coming out of the last bead that your thread went under, okay? So it's going to be the last bead that's sticking up like this. It's going to be the bead under that. So that bead is going to be this bead right here. This is the only time you'll ever want to come out of a bead. So I need to be coming out of that bead in this direction. So I'm going to take the needle and I'm going to go through my tube a little bit, just through the center of the tube, just like I did on the other end. And then I'm going to come back through to where when I come up, I can come out of that one bead. So the bead right below that very last bead I just put on. Let me see. Now, it's all about how you hold it at this point. Some people, Ann Benson, who is, to me, she's like the mother of bead crochet because she knows it all and she's awesome. She calls it the cigarette hold. And how the cigarette hold works is I will hold the end of my tube with the needle with my pointer finger and the next finger. And then I'll hold the beginning of the tube with my thumb and my ring finger. And I'm going to hold it to where when I do this, my ends will match up a little bit. So let me see if I can get this zoomed in here good so that you guys will be able to see this. So I'm coming out of the last bead that I went under the thread, coming out of that bead here. And I'm going to go under the thread of my first bead on the end of the tube. Now I know this is my first bead right here because my first bead was green. So I'm going to go under that thread right there at the tube. Now I'm going to come to my green bead at the top and I'm going to go under the thread to the left, okay? So I'm going under the thread on the left side of the bead. So I'm turning the bead and I'm going under that left thread and pulling. Now I'm going to the purple bead on the bottom. Wait, let me, oop. Ah, there we go. Okay. I'm going to the purple bead on the bottom of the join, and again, I'm going under the thread right above that bead and pull. Now I'm going to the purple bead, or I guess it looks blue on here, up top, and I'm going to turn that bead just like I was if I was putting my crochet hook in, and I'm going to take the needle and I'm going to go under the thread to the left there of that bead and pull. Well, there we go. And so see, what's happening is when we're going under the thread to the left there, it's making these beads up top lay flat like our bottom beads. And you kind of have to keep moving your tube a little bit as you work. So my next one is yellow, so I'm going to go under the thread here at the top of the yellow. And then I'm going to go move the bead here, and I'm going to go under the thread on the left and pull. Okay. Now, under the thread of the pink at the top and pull. I just pulled my needle out. Okay, give me 1 second. So I came through the top of this pink bead. Then I'm going to come to the top pink bead. I'm going to move it over to the right. And I'm going to take the needle and go under the thread that's to the left of that bead. I'm going to pull it straight down. Turn the tube. The next color is turquoise. So I'm going under the turquoise. The thread right there where the turquoise is at. Then I'm going to turn the turquoise bead and go under the thread that's to the left. And before I pull that tight, I'm going to grab a hold of that blue bead right there, because it kind of sucks into your tube a little bit, so you have to be careful. So I'm going to go under the thread, under that blue bead, and then I'm going to grab a hold of that turquoise. And I'm going to go under the thread to the left of it. And pull your needle out just like I did. So when you pull, if you have that first bead, this is the very first bead that we came out of. If you pull it too tightly, it'll move a little bit, so you can straighten it back up. And then pull that one back into place. So what happens if you have any other little beads that are barely sitting off to the side, you can straighten those up. But what happens now is I can go back through this and I can go through those joins again and tighten them up a little bit more. And then what will happen is you won't be able to see where I started and where I ended. And this was purely a tension thing. I just didn't pull it tight enough as I was going through. So I'm just going to go back and I'm going to reinforce what I just finished. I'm not going through any beads. I'm going under the threads. And then I'm going to get rid of this thread exactly like I did with that beginning tail. I'm just going to stitch it through the tube until I feel it's secure. When you're finish another tube and you're ready to actually put an end on it, you have a lot of different options as far as your end caps. Your first thing is you can actually do a glue-on end cap. And to do a glue-on end cap, you would want to put it in your cap and make sure it fits. This one is a little bit big. This is a 13.8. I would want to go down a size in this before I actually did the glue. But you would put some E6000 glue in here. You know, get rid of this thread, and then you would actually glue your ends on and attach your clasps with a lobster claw, jump ring, you know, all that good stuff. The other way to do it is to actually put on a little bead cap, bead cone, whatever you want to call it. This one here is a 9 by 11, and this one is too small. So you would actually want to bump up to about a 10 or an 11 millimeter as far as the opening. These bell caps by Tierra Cast are pretty great because they fit right down over the top of it, and that's exactly what you want it to do. So I've got a needle threaded onto the end of my beginning thread. Okay, this is the beginning. And to put the clasp on, all you would have to do is just put your bell on, or your bead cap, however, whatever you want to call it, and then you would put your clasp on. And where is my lobster claw? Okay, let me go hunt my lobster claw. Now that I have found my lobster claw. And you can use any kind of clasp, but you would thread on your clasp piece and then go back down through your cap and then through the tube. Okay, again, we're not going through beads at all. You're going through the center of the tube and then come out through the tube. Take your time with it, pulling it tight and getting it centered. And then you would just basically stitch through the inner part of your tube again, stitch back up, go back down, you know, just reinforcing it a couple of times, and then you would finish off your thread just like I did the beginning thread on this this bangle. But that's one option that you can do. Now, if you do it like this, you know, it's super easy, you know, and these caps will stay on. The only thing I would recommend that, and let me see if I can pull this back out kind of easy so I can show you. The only thing that I would recommend is that if you are going to, I have no idea what's going on here, but we're going to get rid of that. If you are going to use bead caps, whether you're putting on a clasp or you're going to make a roll-on bangle, make sure that the inside of your cap has no burrs or anything like that to it. If it does, you'll want to take a little bead reamer and get in there and kind of get rid of some of those burrs so it won't mess up your actual piece. Now what I want to actually do is I want to fix mine into a bangle, another roll-on bangle, but I want to have ends and a bead in the center so that it would actually be like this onto my piece. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to the beginning end of my piece, or sorry, the end where I just finished my piece, and I'm going to take my little paper clip off here that I was using. And I'm going to leave myself about 12 inches worth of tail. You want to do one round, not adding any beads whatsoever. So all that means is that you just go under, you know, your bead, flip it, and then pull the yarn through both loops. So we're doing it just like if we were adding our bead, except for we're not adding any beads. And what this is doing is this is getting those beads turned around so that they can lay down and we don't have to worry about those beads. So you just go around making sure all those beads are laid down like the beginning and the whole rest of our tube. Now I'm going to grab a hold of my thread here and pull it through so that now all those beads are sitting flat like they need to be. And you want to put a needle onto each end of the thread. I've got one here and one on this side. And again, you can use a big eye needle. I'm using a tapestry needle, a tulip tapestry needle. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to take my end cap and I'm going to thread on my little end cap or tube or bell or whatever you want to call it, and my bead. And on this side, this other side, I'll thread on the end cap and go through the bead. So I'm essentially crossing through it. And I'm going to pull these threads here. And when you pull them, right now you're just coming out of you know, your bead here. When you actually go through the bells and then you pull these bead caps, bells, whatever you want to call them, they're going to center on this beadwork exactly like you want it to. Now with one needle at a time, You want to try to keep a fairly good tension, but it's kind of hard to when you've got 2 needles at first, so it's okay. But with the needle that's coming out of the left-hand side of the bead, I'm going to go through that same bail and then through the tube and come through. And remember, don't go through any beads, you're just coming through the outside of the tube. And I'm going to pull that. Then I'm going to use this other thread and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go through the bail, the tube, and then come out of the tube. And again, not going through any beads, just my tubes. Now, one at a time, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stitch back into the tube, through the cap, through the bead, and then through the cap and the tube, and then come out of the tube on this side. And again, not going through beads. It's very important. The only time we go through beads is that one time where we do the invisible join, and that's it. Now, you can add multiple beads here if you wanted to. So if you wanted to do a smaller piece of crochet and you wanted to add more beads on the top, you could definitely do that. Completely up to you. That's the really good thing about crochet. This bead crochet is it really does have a lot of options to it. But each time I'm just going through the tube, going through the cone or my cap or end cap or whatever you want to call it. Going through the bead, through the cap, and then come out of the tube on the other side. And you can do this as many times as your thread pass will allow. I like, especially when I'm using a crystal in the center, I like to go through this several times so that it will pull it nice and tight for me and I don't have to worry about, you know, that thread breaking here. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do this several times, just reinforcing where that that bead is. And then just like I did on the invisible join, I'll get rid of both these threads by just stitching through the tube, not stitching through any beads, just the tube. So I hope you guys enjoyed learning how to connect and finish off your bead crochet pieces. If you it didn't click really good for you, or you don't feel like I explained it well enough for you in this video, if you will go to the free PDF that I have on in our private Facebook group, I actually have added some links to videos that I think are really, really great as far as finishing off the bead crochet. There's a couple of links for Ann Benson, the way that she finishes off, and there's one from Fusion Beads and a couple other ones that I really thought were really good, and some of them had step-by-step instructions for you, so that, and some of them were free that you could print off those patterns for that. So be sure and come back next week because we're going to do the, I believe it's the final week of this series on learning how to read crochet patterns for when you're doing your beads. So I hope you guys have a great week. Thank you for watching and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.